ese resbalón se le queda muy difícil al equipo de José Mourinho, que es el rival del Real Madrid en la próxima y última jornada. Y lo que estamos viendo ahora es el triunfo contundente del Newcastle frente al PSV Eindhoven, ese triunfo que lo deja todo muy apretado porque, como decimos, las urracas viajan a París en la última jornada. Han ganado hoy con contundencia. El error de Jarek en ese tanto se lo ponía muy fácil al conjunto inglés. Después veremos un amplio resumen también de este partido, mientras estamos en la locura, en la gran sorpresa de la noche, o quizá ya no tanto sorpresa, porque lo venimos diciendo, el Karabakh está que se sale en esta Champions, y es que se mete de lleno en la pelea por el top 24.
Olmo time proved to be crucial to pick up a vital win away in the Champions League. Barça winning by 4-2, but at what cost? All of the cules, of course, worried about Pedri and this injury. How bad is the Canarian injured? And does Barça have what it takes in order to pick up the win next week? Because yes, we do not depend on ourselves to qualify for the top 8 of the Champions League. The league phase is coming to an end. This penultimate match was an absolute chaotic affair. Barça having to come back from once again conceding first. It was a tough match. The team from the Czech Republic, Slavia Prague, were determined to make life difficult for Barça, and they did so indeed from the start. It was the atmosphere that you would expect from a team from Eastern Europe, but Barça eventually doing what they do. Remontada, a comeback it was. A doblete by Fermin Lopez, the most informed midfielder in the world. There, I said it. What's his price tag? What does he cost right now? What does he cost right now? 40 mil? Some people said he wasn't worth even 40. Welcome to D-Spot, folks. Welcome to this post-match reactions, live reactions from this nail-biter between Slavia Prague and Football Club Barcelona. It ended 4-2 for the Catalan Giants. However, the Blaugranas have everything to play for still next week against Copenhagen at home, as we do not depend on ourselves for the moment to qualify for the top 8. That has to be said. That is important. It was important, of course, to score as many goals possible and to concede as least amount of goals possible. 4-2. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comment section what you think, what your thoughts of this match, as we are already 21 joining us. Let me see if I can pop up the live chat here. And look, I don't know how I feel about this match. Quite frankly, the Frankie injury has left a very bitter taste in my mouth, even though Dani Olmo, he came on time, didn't he? Prematurely, sure, because of the premature, I was going to say ejaculation, Pedri, ejection or substitution from Pedri, given that freak injury, and it didn't look good, man. It didn't look good. I cannot be, I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about the state of affairs right now, given that our best midfielder and the best midfielder in the world, with permission of Fermin Lopez, of course, is, yikes, is out. Yeah, Pedri injury. Kusha, what's up? What did I say? Did I not say Pedri injury? I think I said Pedri injury. But drop your comments in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. Let me see if I can find some goodness for the soul, some comfort here, as I am quite frankly left concerned and stunned as well at how Barça once again made life, in my opinion, too difficult for themselves against this humble side of the Czech Republic, of Eastern Europe. Yes, we know anytime you travel east, especially this time of year, the temperatures are horrible. I think the thermometer registered around a -8, but they said on the radio that the, ¿cómo se dice en inglés? The sensation, right? not the actual temperature, but that what you feel was about a minus a negative 12. So we knew it was going to be difficult. The fans are always into it. However, we played a team that had scored a mere 2 goals in the entire competition and conceded 11. Yet they scored 2 on us today. Yeah. I don't know, man. Something has to change. You know, everybody that is faithful, true to this channel, know that I am the biggest Hansi Flick backer. He is my favorite German of all time, hands down. There's no absolute doubt about that. But Hansi, what have we learned from last season, my friend? By the way, in the background, I'm just keeping the volume on low here, as I want to make sure that I tune into the post-match press conference of the Hansi Flick, as well as any immediate reactions that we get from the protagonists. So do stay with me and bear with me as we are going through the highlights here of the other Champions League matches. You know, yesterday was a very good Champions League day for Barça. You had the likes of who was it? There were Inter drop points, a bunch of teams drop points, City as well, that allowed us to leapfrog our way up to the top, even at some point situate ourselves within the top 8. Then fate had it that, okay, 9th it is. And yes, we do not depend on ourselves. However, I think it is... who is it that play each other? Is it Chelsea and Sporting? I think the last match day of the league phase, I should say, is between... Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, because it was a little bit sporadic, everything trying to organize. Napoli-Chelsea is next week. So with the permission of those two teams, Napoli right now in the rankings, Chelsea are in 8th, Barça, we are 9th, as I've been mentioning. Napoli sitting 25th. Okay, so it is not at all between a battle between the top 8 or the top 10, but Chelsea, that haven't been very good ever since they gave us that spanking. Let's have a listen to Lewandowski real quick, and then I'll get back to the post-match reactions and your comments as well.
No es fácil jugar con -5, -6, -7 grados.
Sí, la verdad
Talking
no es
about the
fácil.
temperature, it's not easy to play at such low
Estás jugando
temperatures.
con 2-3 grados y que estás jugando con -5, 7 y más. Pero a la final lo más importante es que tenemos 3 puntos. Tenemos un partido más en la Champions League y espero que vamos a ganar y vamos a la final clasificación en primeros 8, ¿sí?
Se estaba resistiendo tu primer gol en esta Champions, pero por fin ha llegado.
Sí, por fin, sí, es el primer gol, pero ahora puede ser que es más fácil para mí. Sí, pero estoy muy feliz, ¿sabes? En principio, creo que también como jugábamos hoy con el balón, mantener el balón, era mucho mejor que como antes del partido. Sí, creo que si vamos a jugar como hoy o mejoramos unas cosas, podemos ser más peligrosos y creo que tenemos más opciones en ofensiva para jugar y para salir de balón.
¿Has mirado la clasificación, cómo están las cosas? Porque estáis novenos, hay muchos equipos con 13 puntos, o sea, la semana que viene, el miércoles, va a ser una locura.
Sí, hemos hablado en el vestuario que hay 6, creo que equipos con 8,
si no me equivoco.
8, con 12 o 13 puntos.
Con 13.
Con 13 puntos. Pero para nosotros lo más importante es que vamos a ganar último partido en casa contra Copenhagen, y si ganamos, si jugamos bien en defensa, si jugamos mejor en ofensiva, marcamos goles, creo que tenemos mucha oportunidad para jugar directamente en la fase de la Champions League.
Gracias, Robert, enhorabuena.
Muchas gracias.
Ahí estaban las valoraciones de Robert Lewandowski. Bueno, contento con la victoria, lógicamente.
However, this last match day that will be played next week in the Camp Nou between Barça and Copenhagen, a lot of the eyes will be set on what happens between Chelsea and Copenhagen, because right now Chelsea are in 8th
los últimos 5 partidos de Champions sin ver puerta. Bueno, pues hoy por fin se ha desquitado. Y con Fermín la vida también
it took Lewandowski 5 games to find the goal again in the Champions League, and Lewandowski did so. Not the most amazing goal. Let's not kid ourselves. ¿Cómo es? El Puskas, ¿no? The most amazing goal of the jornada definitely goes to Dani Olmo. It was Olmo time, right at the right time as well, right at the time when Pedri was escorted off. And I'm hoping that we're going to hear a clarification and also un alivio, like some sort of a relief from Hansi Flick in the post-match comments and press conference. Let's wait and see. Make sure you stick around, because the way that the league is panning out right now, with the change of guard, with the change of coach over at Real Madrid, the win that they picked up in the Champions League, okay, it's been ugly so far, and yes, they're still a team in complete disarray with all sorts of problems in their dressing room and outside of it as well. The fact that they're just 1 point behind and managed to put 6 past a Monaco side that we lost to last season, of course, it doesn't make me, as a 44-year-old culé who have been watching these teams go at it over the course of at least 30 years. It doesn't make me comfortable whatsoever, the fact that they're just 1 point, a mere point behind us. And right now, sitting pretty at the top of the Champions League as well, in third, mind you. So, anyways, let's try to keep our focus on our side, shall we? On the Blaugranas, on this match as well. Like I said, I knew that it was going to be an uncomfortable match. It's not a team or a location, I should say, that I ever feel comfortable in playing. Any time we have to go all the way out east at this time of year, during this time of year, I always know it's going to be tough because of the passion of the fans, because of the fact that, hey, Barça are rolling in town and it's the hot ticket in town, and this team that have scored just a mere 2 goals so far in the entire league phase come out guns blazing, knowing that they can at the very least make us uncomfortable in the back. And they took advantage, and then the crowd gets into it, the whole home crowd gets into it. Everybody tries to, of course, support their team, to try to inflict damage upon this Barça side that continues to show their frailty in the back. And that is exactly, I hope that some journalists will push and point at Hansi Flick, because a whole season has passed, guys. Last year in the Champions League semi-final, Inter knocked us out because of what we called at the time immaturity, naivety. This time around, oh, Pedri news.
Se ha llevado la mano a la parte posterior de la pierna derecha, así que a priori es algo muscular. No nos dicen nada de momento, no concretan lesión, tampoco alcance. Mañana le realizarán pruebas cuando vuelva el equipo, lógicamente, a la ciudad condal. Es la mala noticia del partido, lógicamente, porque Pedri es pilar fundamental de este Fútbol Club Barcelona. En un día en el que el Barça tenía que ganar, tenía que intentar sacar una buena ventaja de goles. Lo ha conseguido, pero la lesión de Pedri preocupa, porque ya insistimos en que es una de las piezas fundamentales de Hansi Flick. Mañana pruebas a Pedri para ver el alcance de la lesión.
That's it. Tomorrow,
gracias,
the test will be carried out.
No hay que esperar 24 horas para ver cómo está la zona. No nos vamos a arriesgar en tiempos de baja, pero sin duda va a estar
or how badly he's injured and how much it's going to affect Hansi Flick's side.
Yo creo que ya lo estaba haciendo Flick, en líneas generales siempre intenta hacer los cambios entre el minuto 58 y 60, que eso mucho tiene que ver con los datos que le dan para minimizar riesgos, y yo creo que esta temporada pues, lo está haciendo, se nota cuando hace los cambios. Estas cosas pueden pasar. La suerte que tiene el Barça en este caso, a pesar de que es un jugador muy especial, pero el que ha entrado por él ha hecho un golazo. Y eso es la fuerza de esta plantilla también.
Es que puede, a ver,
of the squad that you're able to substitute a Pedri and bring on a Dani Olmo, then scores an absolute cracker.
Pero sí que es verdad que con la entrada de Dani Olmo mejoras en cuanto a llegada, en cuanto a tienes más jugadores que puedan tener gol. Dani Olmo, Fermín.
The other ex-Barça
sí que
legend,
puedes ganar en eso, pero no cabe duda que
Pedri, saying that the luxury of Barça this season is that you bring on a Dani Olmo and you are able to bring on a quality player that is offensively more dangerous.
Eso sí, Olmo siempre al final es inevitable un gol de Dani, ¿no?
Pero un golazo.
Sí, golazo.
Golazo, sí.
Golazo, golazo. Vamos a ver el resumen de esta remontada del Barça en Praga.
While the good folks of Movistar are going over the
equipo.
highlights, seeing as I cannot put those on the screen neither, let's have a look at the highlights here. Appreciate the new graphics. Some of you long-time D-Spot followers will surely not have seen me pull out these graphics. I've been working very long and hard to make this up the production value for you all. So if you appreciate it, if you're new here as well, of course, at least consider subscribing. But if you're a Barça fan, you absolutely have to subscribe. There's no better Barça place to go to get your news ever so close from the source. My days at Barça Studios might be over, but the passion lives on, and it lives on right here on D-Spot, your Barça insider. All right, let's have a look here at the statistics then. I don't want to go to the global right away. I want to look at the first half, because that first half really left me with a sour taste in my mouth. The way that we came out and approached this match, again, having to come back from a goal down against this one of the poorer sides in the top European competition. Listen, at some point in time, we need to stop conceding. Especially in these latter stages, the more crucial stages of the Champions League. Yes, it's not the knockout phase, but it was the penultimate match. One where, had we scored more goals, if I'm not mistaken, we would have been higher up in the Champions League ranking as well. Let me just double check that. But right now, goals in so the goal difference actually puts us at no here, yeah. See, still one in favor for Chelsea. Had we not conceded that many, we would have been up there, potentially even leapfrogging QSG here. That's a lot to be said, of course, but the goals conceded, folks, it's too much, isn't it? It's too much. In fact, I heard a very interesting stat being mentioned as well during the live broadcast on Cadena Ser, where they talked about the fact that right now, in the Champions League phase, the away goals that Barça have conceded in total in the 4 games that we played away is 9 goals. Last season, let me see if I did write it down somewhere. Where is it? Last season, it was 27 goals. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde lo tengo? ¿Lo he cerrado? Hostia, no, aquí está. 17 goals in 9 games last season. 9 goals in 4 games. Away games, of course, this season. Another interesting stat was the 3 offside traps per game this season compared to the 6 last season. It's a drop. It's a drop. It's a drop that, yes, we're improving. Clearly, we started out the season in not the form that we were expecting Hansi Flick's side to come out, defending champions of La Liga, of the Copa, of the Supercopa. That one is in the bag, thank goodness, good riddance. But in the league, it's only a point, and in the Champions League, once again, I hate to reiterate this fact, but we do not depend on ourselves. I'm not here trying to jinx anything. It is the reality. And if we want to compete against the bigger, badder teams, the badass teams, the Arsenals, the Bayerns, the QSGs. We have a lot to improve on, folks. So, again, I would love to know from you guys how you feel the way this team is set up so far. We came off of a high, of course, winning that game against Espanyol to start off the kickoff 2026 in not very convincing fashion, may I add, but we won. The same way that we played in a convincing fashion against Real Sociedad over the weekend and lost that match. I think that game against Espanyol was one where we could have dropped points, but by some miraculous San Juan Garcia, we managed to walk away with the 3 points, and we didn't do so against Real Sociedad. All this to say that riding high wave of beating our city rivals in Espanyol, beating our arch enemies, our big opponents in the Supercopa. All that momentum, unfortunately, for reasons perhaps even beyond our control, the referee, Mazano, 5 posts, 3 goals disallowed against Real Sociedad. This time around, against this team, Slavia Prague, I find it an opportunity missed to really say, coño, aquí estamos con 2 cojones. Somos el Barça, cuyons. Somos el Barça y no hay que dudar de nada. You know, we cannot doubt this team, not even for a minute. I'm not saying I was expecting an easy game. Far from it. And I will continue to reiterate that. But I was expecting a perhaps more solid performance from the back and not a nail-biter where in the end, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Pues imagínate la semana que viene, ¿no? Precioso, ¿eh? Precioso. Este es el rival del Atlético de Madrid el próximo miércoles, que dio la sorpresa, no había ganado todavía un partido de Champions en su estadio, estadio coqueto. Wow, I didn't realize Atlético de Madrid hadn't won a game in their stadium so far this season. So XG 1.42 to 1.01, clear chances 2. Let's call it 60% possession. Stops from Joan Garcia compared to the Czech goalkeeper. 8-1. 8-1 for the home side, that is. No sé, Nois. No lo sé. No lo sé. Listen, of course I expect a win against Copenhagen next week. And of course, we are going to qualify for the knockout stages. It would be very nice to qualify for the finals, the knockout stages of the Champions League, finishing even in that top 8, especially considering that Pedri will be out for an undetermined amount of time. And over here, we have a whole bunch of teams that can cause a whole bunch of problems. Right now, again, I was quickly jotting this down, the potential opponents for Barça. The way things stand now are Athletic Club, who picked up quite a miraculous win by, from what I heard, Olympiacos, Sporting, and City. For Real Madrid could be Leverkusen. It's a shame Xavi Alonso's gone. Marseille, Inter, and Atalanta. Que con esta victoria, esa machada en Bérgamo, esa remontada, ha conseguido mantenerse con vida y San Mamés va a lucir como nunca, ¿eh? La gente estará enloquecida. Fermin Lopez, folks. Thank goodness for Fermin Lopez. Thank God we have a midfielder there that is playing his heart out, that is playing at a level like he's a man on a mission with something to prove. I think that the rumors from this summer has definitely given him a chip on his shoulder, And right now, the way that he's playing, he's got to be an absolute starter in every single match. Please, Hansi Flick, you have to play Fermin Lopez. Last weekend, it was that deadly pass to set up Ferran Torres for that lovely goal, to pick up the win. Every time again, it's just production from the Andalusian that is invaluable for this team. That, of course, come crunch time, come this final stretch of the season, is going to go through injuries, is going to go through ups and downs within the squad. But we have the depth and we have the quality in our players as well to continue to produce, to continue to compete, and to continue to also pick up silverware, repeat success in the league, in the Copa. Albacete is next. And why not? Why are we not allowed to dream? Everybody writes us off for the Champions League. And I get it. Given our weaknesses in the back, I get the skepticism behind Barça winning the Champions League. It's an obvious to point out. However, if a Dortmund can reach the final a few years ago against Los Blancos, if a Greece can win the Euro Cup quite some years ago, you're telling me that this squad cannot win, or at least fight for and make the Champions League final and compete? Come on now. Come on. All right, well, the chat is kind of quiet over here. Kusha, let me get to your question, saying La Masia gotta have better defenders than Gerard Martin. I'm tired of this. Listen, Gerard Martin today, well, obviously was not his game. That was evident, I think, pretty early on. However, he's been top-notch as well. I'm not going to write him off completely yet and shit on him entirely because he had the off game today. I can't. I just can't. Is he a elite defender? No. But he's better than what he showed today. And yes, he was posterized perhaps last year in the Champions League semis against Inter, but don't be too harsh on Gerard Martinez, I guess what I would eventually say. We have to have an honest conversation about Balde soon. Let's talk about it. What do you want to say about Balde? I think Balde, Koundé have had especially offensively good productions. Yes, obviously the wing backs need to also perform defensively. I think their transition in defense has been good, even though the precision and decision making sometimes leaves something to desire. And overall, though, I can't give up on Koundé and Balde, man. What are you saying, Kushan? What do you want to say? It was a poor defensive performance, but hasn't that been the case sort of for the entire backline, even though individually Eric Garcia has been perhaps our most stellar defender all season, even though a Cubarsí that impressed all of us last season, this season is suffering a sophomore slump, and Segurola, who I highly respect, mind you, the journalist here from us and I think in La SER or Cope said that Cubarsí is a wasted talent. At 18 years old, I cannot give up on a Cubarsí. At, what is Balde, 20, 21 years old? I cannot give up on Alejandro Balde, especially given the highlights, the good performances that we have seen from him in other games. Eric Garcia is a mystery to me, how he is performing so well despite being put into different positions. He is clearly one of the more multifaceted and versatile players in La Liga, in the Spanish national team. I would imagine that Luis de la Fuente will definitely call him up for the Spanish national side to put him basically anywhere. And Araujo, who got some minutes, But yes, listen, I think the overall point is that our defensive line needs some beefing up, needs help. It needs a leader. It's the same narrative that we've been talking about throughout the entirety of the season. And Inigo Martinez, Carles Puyol, Gerard Piqué, Nadal, who else? Koeman, perhaps even, somebody that can really lead the back line, make sure that they continue to be disciplined in position and coordinate accordingly, because the offside trap stats that I talked about just prior, where last season we were setting on average about 6 a game, it has dropped off to half of it, 3 per game this season. And that's alarming. I'm not going to deny that. That's alarming. That's telling. And it's clearly not good. It's not good. It is not good. As I'm looking over the stat sheets here of the team as a whole, it's just been a disappointing performance, hasn't it? Rafinha, who managed to get some rest, of course. Lamine Yamal, who was suspended for this game, was substituted by a Rooney Bargi, who I kind of expected a lot from today. I thought this was going to be that type of game and opportunity where we would see the Swede, Iraqi player kind of really take advantage of the minutes that he was given here by Hansi. And it was a bad performance, guys. It was a bad performance. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Chaotic, sporadic. I mean, look at the amount of notes I even took. It was not a lot of notes because of the poor performance that we saw, but just the relief for the fact that we managed to get the comeback, secure the win, get 3 vital points, and situate ourselves there in a position where we're at least able to finish off the league phase with a chance. A likely chance, I don't know, but at least a chance to finish in the top 8 and avoid having to play extra games. Well, I at least want to stick around until Hansi Flick takes to the press conference. And if nobody else has much to say, what I would like to go over as well is what is happening over in the White House. 6-2 it ended, or 6-1 was it? And all seems to be gravy once again for Real Madrid, as they're sitting 3rd in the Champions League standings and just 1 point behind us. This better not be one of these points where we're going to see the headlines, the newspapers, the front pages talk about Canguelo, talk about Madriditis. Next weekend, let's see real quick who we're playing. It's Elche coming up next. Sorry, Oviedo coming up next. And we know how tough of a match that was when we played them in the first half of the season away. Also a game that we had to come back, claw our way back from conceding a goal initially. Then Copenhagen again on Wednesday. Come on. These are muy asequibles. These shouldn't be games that we suffer all that much. But right now, after this performance, I don't know what to expect, folks. I don't know what to expect.
Partido correcto, dice Fresnedoso, y es que es verdad que el inicio ha sido perfecto. Vamos a ver el resumen. A los 4 minutos ya ganaba el Atlético con un gol de
Is Hansi still not taking to the press conference? Anyways.
Está en ese grupo de los 13 puntos, pero es verdad que con peor gol average, con peor diferencia de goles que algunos de sus rivales, peor diferencia que el City, que el Sporting, que el Barça y que el Chelsea. Ambientazo en el Alisa Millén de Estambul, el saludo ahí entre los entrenadores y también en una caldera en un estadio que vibraba.
Funny, when I share my screen, I cannot even see the images neither. I'll have to pull it up on my phone.
Así que desde aquí nuestro reconocimiento para el público turco. El partido, como decíamos, ha empezado bien para el Atlético de Madrid, primero con esta de Julián y después con el gol del conjunto colchonero. Antes tuvo este disparo fácil para Jan Oblak desde la lejanía, ahí lo intentaba Mario Lemina, y aquí iba a llegar la oportunidad en la que Sorloth pivotea, Sorloth la aguanta, encuentra a Ruggeri en banda izquierda, saca un buen centro el futbolista italiano y Simeone remata para el 0-1.
Sí, buena incorporación de Ruggeri por banda izquierda y Juliano que está donde tiene que estar. El defensa de Galatasaray no sé lo que hace porque no acierta en despejar el balón. Yo no creo que le molesta al compañero.
No la ve venir del todo, ¿no?
También el balón, va tenso.
Sí, pero bueno, Juliano está donde tiene que estar, en el segundo palo, y finaliza muy bien de cabeza abajo para...
Do you want Julian? Who wants Julian as our striker next season?
Le duró poquito, eso sí, la alegría al Atlético de Madrid, porque en este balón atrás Marcos Llorente quiere despejar el centro de Salai y termina introduciéndoselo en su propia portería.
Bueno, pues esa es la desgracia aquí, por justificar un poco a Marcos Llorente, quizá también el gesto de Oblak y el bote del balón y la velocidad que va, pues le despistan un poco de ese balón que encima le pilla en el pie de apoyo. Y bueno, pues es la desgracia de meterse gol en público.
Claro, es el corte que hace el jugador turco para recibir ese balón y meterlo al área.
Oblak, por cierto, que cumplía 100 partidos en Champions con el Atlético de Madrid. Había sido titular Almada por delante de Baena, lo cambió al descanso Simeone. Es verdad que el argentino tenía una tarjeta amarilla y aquí veíamos oportunidades de peligro para...
All right, well, while we wait for Hansi Flick to take to the hot seat, why don't we go over to the front pages of the digital newspapers here in Spain. I start with Sport. What does Barça need to finish in the top 8 of the Champions League? Ferran Correa saying that it took a lot for Barça to pick up the win against Slavia Prague, conceding 2 goals from the corner. Again, unlucky there. Lewandowski, of course, scored the own goal, but yes. After the win, the results, other results of the match day, some that favor Barça and some that went against Barça, that eventually pushed the Blaugranas side out of the top 8 and into 9th. So therefore, here they're saying that they do depend on themselves to finish in the top 8. Okay, that's a clash of information that I have previously interpreted or received. So here he says that Barça reaches the final match day with 13 points, the same as the 6th qualified in the league phase, QSG, and 6 other teams, Newcastle, Chelsea, Sporting, City, Atlético de Madrid, and Atalanta. So like I said before, 8 teams with 13 points need to score. Basically, it's a goal fest. Whoever manages to get the most goals will eventually finish in the top 8. That the team, en cuanto más goles mejor en la última jornada, teniendo en cuenta que algunos de ellos meterán por gol. It's all going to come down to the goal average and, of course, the points. So Barça, we have to win and score a fuck ton of goals. Right now, we have a +5, like you guys saw before. 5 goals separate us from the QSG and even Newcastle, mind you, just the 1 goal with the Chelsea. And behind us is Sporting City with 4, Atlético de Madrid and Atalanta. So QSG and Newcastle will play each other, while Chelsea play Napoli. So that is the direct enfrentamiento, the head-to-head game that actually favors us as well. because well, for obvious reasons. So Barça, we can, in case of a win, manage to leapfrog teams like Tottenham, Liverpool, and Madrid, depending on their results, of course. They play Eintracht Karabakh and Benfica. Ooh, that game against Benfica. Is Benfica still as good as last season? It's the return of Mourinho as well, isn't it? Don't trust that. Don't trust that at all. Don't trust this at all. What's going on here? What is the foul play? ¿Dónde está? Benfica. 29th. 6. I don't trust that situation at all, in the slightest. So the games with the teams who have 13 points without counting Barça, QSG, and Newcastle are Athletic, Sporting, City, who play against Galatasaray, Napoli against Chelsea, and Atletico against Bodo Glimt. What the fuck? And whatever, Atalanta against Union Saint-Gilloise. Is it clear? What the fuck? Why does that keep happening? Dude, what kind of sorcery is this? I don't want to go to that site. Well, that is what Barça need then. Just basically win and outscore the competition. Can they do that against Copenhagen? Copenhagen, who are 26th, right now out of the running to qualify for the knockout stages. 7 points. 12 scored, 17 conceded. They'll probably get a couple past us. That's what I'm saying, I think. The whole broadcast and sort of the more somber mood of this live stream is because of Pedri's injury. I'm just praying that it ain't that serious and it's not as bad as what it looked like when he was holding his hamstring and was escorted off. Pero no pinta bien. Doesn't look good. And knowing the history, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves and jinx anything, but see what Mundo has to say. Sure, the cold weather couldn't help, but you expect these players. They're professionals, man, and the technical staff and all the physios know how to warm these players up accordingly. It's not the first time a team has to go play out east, during these winter months, and I don't. If he wasn't 100%, then you should have put Olmo in from the start. And why do you start? I quite honestly, I don't know why you say it bothered him before the game. I wasn't aware of that, nor did I see anything that called my attention. But if that was the case, then start Olmo, man. Start Olmo. The headlines here from Mundo Deportivo talking about no se congela, Barça didn't freeze up. They love these play on words, and they said after conceding the goal that Barça froze up. Well, now they didn't freeze up. But only part of the homework is done, referring to the goals that we're going to have to score next week against the Danish side. Of course, it's Rooney Bargi's ex-team, isn't it? Us also doing some math for the final 8. They do it in a much more organized way. I like that. I like it a lot. Here they go. Barça, they're saying it was a key win against Prague. And
Barça reach the final game of the league phase with options to finish in the top 8. We're going to have to win against Copenhagen, and we'll have to do so with the most amount of goals possible, seeing as the goal average is important. Again, the +5 against QSG is highlighted here, and Newcastle. So a draw, yeah, would not be good at all, and a loss will still give us a chance, actually, but clearly we don't want that. We don't even want to consider those scenarios. Madrid, on the other hand, why not shed a light here and an eye on a team from the nation's capital. Pretty close to finishing the top 8. Arbeloa right now, 15 points after that drubbing against Monaco. A win against Benfica would assure them a finish in the top 8. And can you imagine if they finish second? That's absolute madness. If Madrid finish second in the league phase of the Champions League, Xabi Alonso needs to come back. Not that I want that, because I actually rate him very much so as a coach, but a draw, anyway, but yada yada. No. Let me not be. Arsenal and Bayern have a better chances. Anyway, a loss could actually complicate their position in the top 8. 60 of you here joining the live stream. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you subscribe, of course, and hit the bell notification if you can. I say if you can because some of the new subscribers of this channel mentioned that the bell notification has been disabled, in which case, please do let me know, and I will continue to have words with the YouTube team about that issue. But thank you for joining me here on D-Spot, your place to get your Barça news close to the source, right from the heart of Catalunya, close to the Camp Nou, and of course, all of the background that I have from my time working at Barça Studios. Damn, Hansi Flick is taking a long-ass time to get into the press conference. Hit me up with some questions, folks. I'm running out of topics here and energy as well. Got to keep it down for the kids who are asleep and the wifey as well. I don't know. What do you think this win will do? A win is a win, of course. An important one and a vital one. Despite it being a non-convincing one, I guess it was a complete counter-opposite of what we saw take place in the league over in San Sebastián, where, well, we managed to beat Real Sociedad in terms of possession, chances, and everything you want, hitting the post 5 times. It was 3 goals disallowed. And in terms of play, we got the better of the home side there, but it wasn't ours to pick up the 3 points. And that certainly made it a sticky situation in the domestic league, seeing as Real Madrid managed to get their homework done despite all the turmoil that they're going through. They're just 1 point behind, and I don't like that one bit. Nunca me fío. Mateo de la Hoz going over the offsides here. No shit. Talking about that in the league, the VAR is down to the millimeter. We saw that again last weekend when Lamine Yamal's goal was ruled for offside because of el taco, like the cleat. Absolute insanity, of course.
las 12:05 ya de la noche. Hay que ver, por ejemplo, la victoria del Liverpool. Respira. Slot.
God damn, why? 12 here. And Hansi Flick is still not taken to the hot seat. Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'm going to actually manage to... We're going to wait. We're going to wait for Hansi Flick, folks. I want to hear from the German manager, hear what he has to say. So stick around. Drop your questions and comments in the comment section. Flick spoke already. Well, why didn't we hear it over here? That's insane. Normally they would connect with the press conference. Unfortunately, they didn't do so here. Thank you, Edwin, for the update as I'm sitting here waiting. Hansi Flick. Let's have a look at what he had to say. Okay, awesome. I guess I got to do that as well then.
Hacía tiempo que no veíamos una barrera sin nadie tirado.
Claro, efectivamente.
De hecho, escucharemos después a Szoboszlai, que tenía estudiado al OM y por eso lo había hecho así. Mason Greenwood, temporadón, el ex del Getafe, que sacaba este derechazo que tenía que despejar Alisson. Aquí va a llegar la de Ekitike, lo decíamos, que le anularon un gol en la primera parte, aquí la mandaba al larguero.
Here we go. The headlines of the press conference. Again, thank you, Edwin, for making me aware. I was patiently waiting for the good folks of Movistar to connect live with the press conference. I guess for whatever reason, they didn't do that this time. Let me see if I can share with you. Great. The headline is no good news regarding the injury of Pedri. We don't know how many weeks he will be sidelined and miss for the Blaugranas side. Again, the somberness continues here, despite the 4-2 win and a vital one. After Hansi Flick took to the hot seat and addressed the elephant in the room, Pedri will be out for weeks, an undetermined amount of time. About the game, Hansi Flick said that after conceding 2 goals from a set piece from the corner, they managed to fight their way back and complete the remontada, the comeback, and that is a good sign. It wasn't easy today. It was very cold. Again, I think it was -8, but the received temperatures were -12. Anyway, do you really notice the difference there? I guess you do. Slavia played very well, that is for sure. Slavia played like a side that felt that they could get something out of this match, even if it was at the very least to double their goal-scoring tally so far in the league phase of the Champions League. They managed to do that. 2 goals before facing Barça, 4 goals now. It was a physical game, physical team with dangerous transitions and set pieces. Second half was better, that's for sure. The game was complicated. They had many weeks to prepare this game. They did so very well. They were dynamic with great players, and it wasn't easy to defend against them. But I'm happy the way we managed to come back, and I think we played very well. I'm saying that's up for debate. Next weekend, everything will be decided. We're going to have to win. And today, first, we had to win, and we're going to have to do so again next week. Winning the Champions League is very difficult. You saw that today. So we will see what happens. About Fermin, Hansi Flick said he was very good. Also, Dani Olmo, did a great job when he came on, scoring that golazo. Lewandowski was a fighter, and fue una noticia que Fermin no se fuera al Chelsea. The news was that Fermin didn't go to Chelsea. That was very important, of course, for this team. Imagine if he did. Oh, my God. And it's important for Barça that he stays, and for him as well. We value him very much. Absolutely. Who was it again that said that he wasn't worth the 40 kilitos, the 40 mil? I don't remember. Somebody said that. I think, you know. Pedri, I don't know how he is right now. He's got problems with this here, this part of his body. I'm going to call it his hamstring. We'll see what they have to say after doing tests, which were confirmed. Will be done, of course, tomorrow. Don't know how many weeks he'll be out. It's not good news, that's for sure. Luckily, we have Danny, who came in for him and scored a goal. Rashford played well as well. And I think that Araujo and Bernal also came on in good form. It's good to have players that are able to give immediate input and production. With regards to the top 8, next week will not be an easy game. Pedri will not be there, neither Frenkie. Lemme will be back after serving suspension. We didn't start the Champions League off on the right foot, but we can still finish in the top 8. And that way, we'll have a little bit more rest. Exactly what I said as well. Absolutely vital. Araujo, it was an important moment for him. Of course, he came on as well in the Supercopa as well, managed as the captain to lift the trophy. But it was important for him to come back, and the dressing room as well. Que haya ganado el 1-1 in aquella carrera. I actually missed that, quite frankly. I was taking notes, surely. But I guess he won a one-on-one battle. And Hansi is happy with his form, and he's happy to have him back. De Jong, he says, played incredible. He's been fantastic and just playing at a very high level. The captain. O capitao. All right, folks. I'm going to call it a day here. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream with the post reactions of this very electrifying, nail-biting Slavia de Prague 2, Barça 4 that left us with a bittersweet taste in our mouth. There's still a chance to qualify for the top 8. It's going to be difficult. Certainly will not be easy. Far from it. But I guess we depend on ourselves. And we depend on our forwards to score as many goals as possible against Copenhagen next week back in the Camp Nou. Do not go away and click away without subscribing first and hitting the bell notification. I'll be back tomorrow with more Barça news. We'll see you then. Peace out.